them is the employee versus independent contractor. Anybody had any issues with that recently? You know what I'm talking about? There is, in more recent years, a tendency to say, I don't want these people to be my employees. Because then I have to do withholding, I have a lot of, I have to pay in benefits, I have a lot of other things. So why don't we just call them independent contractors? So I don't have to worry about it, they're going to be outside. That decision right there is being scrutinized heavily, both by the Commonwealth of Virginia, by the federal government, and by the OFCC people. And the issue really comes down to is, what kind of control do you have? Now, it's been kind of going back and forth under President Obama's administration. They tried to tighten it up and say, hey, there's a lot of issues with that, and we're going to try and cut down on it. President Trump's administration has tried to open it up a little bit. The Department of Labor has recently gone back and said, hey, the original 6 ideas, 6 things that you're looking at to determine if they're really an employee or an independent contractor. One of the things is, who's providing the equipment? Are you supplying the equipment for the person who's doing the job? Is it all yours? They just come in, they use yours, and it's done? What does that look like? Does that look like an independent contractor or an employee? Leaning toward the side of an employee. Who controls their terms of work and when they work? Is that you? Those are some of there's a list of these things, but I don't want to go through all of them because we'll be here all day, but really what you're looking at is who has control. And the idea is that if you make the mistake and you categorize them as an independent contractor and they're not, there's repercussions. One, you have IRS problems because now you haven't done the withholding for the employee. You have problems, you haven't done all the withdrawals, the Medicaid, the FUTA, FICA, all of those things you've got the issues with. In addition, I've had clients where their workers' comp came back and sued the client because a person got injured on the job, and our client says, well, they're not my employee, they're an independent contractor, so I'm not responsible. Well, that's not what was ultimately happened. They were found to have been the employee. They should have been covered by the workers' comp. They were not. Workers' comp was responsible for paying it. They came back, and then they charged my client, or tried to charge my client, for many more employees, saying, well, wait a minute, you misrepresented to us who were the number of your employees and the cost with that. So you've got a lot of those issues. The state of Virginia has created a task force to try to address that because they lose a lot of revenue. So the issue of this is, if you are at all in doubt, make them an employee.